Pittsburgh Steelers win in convincing fashion on Sunday Night Football to improve to 5-2 on the season in Russell Wilson's much-anticipated Steelers debut. Welcome into the Steelers Talk postgame show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Steelers win 37-15 against the New York Jets, putting up 37 points against what was a top 10 scoring defense coming into the game. Plus, it should have been 41 because of a lack of a DPI call on an open receiver in Van Jefferson in the end zone for Russell Wilson to hit. Probably should have been a touchdown in that instance, and it wasn't. So you could look at this game right now and say the Steelers should have scored 41 points in Russell Wilson's first game. And as we'll discuss on today's show, it wasn't even Russ's best game, folks. All right, let's get into it right now. But before we get into it, make sure you spam those W's. Steelers get the win. They improved to 5-2 in front of a national audience. They've got a very beatable opponent next week at home against the New York Giants. Certainly feels like the Steelers could certainly be on track to 6-2. Obviously, they got to take care of business next week. Make sure you spam those W's if you're happy for this team right now. Before we get into my game balls here, I got 8 game balls to give out today. There's just so many impact players that we got to talk about. A couple injuries here. Dante Jackson left with his shoulder. Potentially look for the Steelers to try to find cornerback help this week because James Pierre, are we really going to trust him to start moving forward here? I don't know. Montravius Adams left with a knee injury. Hopefully he's okay. Good rotational piece. He'd be missed if he misses the rest of the season or just even misses a couple games. So with that said, first game ball, it's obvious, goes to Russell Wilson. I mean, everybody. Well, I'm not going to say everybody. There's certainly Team Russ and Team Fields, and Team Fields was certainly very vocal this week about their disdain for this move to go to Russell Wilson. Okay, and I've been saying all week, I would have been fine if they would have stuck with Fields after a 4-2 start, but I understand why they wanted to go to Russ. And Mike Tomlin made clear in his comments this week that he thinks that this team can go to another level with Russell Wilson in there. And even despite a really, really rocky start in the first half, it was definitely clear that he was rusty. He had some poor throws, particularly underthrowing guys today. But overall, the completion percentage got a lot better after I think was like a 1-for-9 or 2-for-9 start. He got it up in the second half, and the passing yards was legit today, 264 with 2 tuds, and he ran for 1 as well, so 3 touchdowns for Russell Wilson, led multiple long drives. I will say that he benefited a little bit from the interceptions that Beanie Bishop Jr. got today with good field position, just like Fields did last week when this team put up 32 against a Las Vegas Raiders team. So listen, man, it wasn't even Russ's best performance, but you guys can see with this Steelers defense, with their run game, with the way that they handle special teams, this is a Steelers team that can put up 37 points, should have been 41 points against a top 10 defense in the National Football League in terms of scoring allowed. And Russell Wilson doesn't even have to play his best game, all right? So that's what was really my big takeaway. My final thing that I want to talk about Russell Wilson here, 0 turnover-worthy plays in this game compared to Justin Fields had 4 just last week against Las Vegas. That's what the Steelers are looking for. They're looking for efficiency. They're looking for ball protection. I thought he was very efficient throwing the ball down the field today. Lots of explosive plays to George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and then, of course, Calvin Austin III as well. So very happy to see that. I thought Russ had a very good first game here and a very good result for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then let's talk about George Pickens today, man, because he ended the game with 5 catches for 111 yards, an average of 22.2. Had some really great acrobatic catches. Russell Wilson had some underthrows on some deep balls today to him, and it just doesn't matter with GP. I love that Russell Wilson really took advantage of the one-on-one opportunities to George. I thought that Justin Fields was thinking a little bit too much at times and, was trying to get it to the right guy. But sometimes it's like George Pickens has one-on-one coverage. Just throw it to him, and Russ understands that. He knows how to feed a number 1 receiver. He did it with Courtland Sutton. He did it with DK Metcalf. Did it with Doug Baldwin all those years back in Seattle. And he did it tonight with George Pickens. And he was a big-time player. He had a long of 44. And he, of course, had that touchdown on that beautiful fade. So great job by George Pickens. Big bounce-back game for him. Now make sure you guys go down there and let me know right now who is the MVP of the game today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time. But let me know who is the MVP of today's football game. Third game ball goes to another offensive player in Jaylen Warren, who looked like himself today. I have 8 game balls. Najee's not getting one of them, even though he probably deserves one. I thought Najee had a really good second half, just wearing down the Jets defense. But Jaylen Warren picked up a big 3rd and 8 on a catch. He picked up multiple first downs on the ground as well, 44 yards on 12 carries, certainly good enough today. Was he super explosive today? Not necessarily. Didn't have like a long touchdown or a 20 or 30-yard run. Honestly, Najee was more explosive than Jaylen was today, but certainly seems like Jaylen has got his sea legs under him now, and he's back kind of at least close to fully healthy, which is great stuff. Najee also ran for over 100 today, so we'll just say they share this game ball here, and this just goes to the run game. Moving over to the defense here, that Alex Highsmith was the biggest impact in terms of the edge rushers on the Steelers today. T.J. Watt finished with a tackle and 1 PBU, but mostly the Jets did a pretty good job on him in this football game. So it was Alex Highsmith stepping up, getting those pressures, beating Tyron Smith one-on-one. And it was really a good performance from 56 today, coming off that groin injury. So very, very good to see him back impacting the football game. And you can just see, when this defense with Alex Highsmith versus not, there is a pretty big difference. Having those 2 edge rushers to fear for an opposing offensive line is definitely real, and that definitely showed tonight. So coming up here, more game balls given out here. There's one person in particular where I'm guessing you're saying, Jack, how have you not given this guy a game ball yet, that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, if you want to go see more Steelers football games this year live and watch Russell Wilson and the boys play some great football, you guys can go ahead right now and download the free Game Time app. And then you guys can use their brand new feature called Game Time Picks to filter out the fluff, to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And honestly, guys, it's the only ticketing app that you really need on your phone. All you have to do is download the free Game Time app, go to an event you want to go see, select the Game Time Picks button, and it automatically filters through their entire database of tickets for that event to find you the best prices, the best tickets, the best seats for you and your family. Another thing that I really love about the Game Time app, and why it's the only ticketing app that I have on my phone personally, is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. So you're not going to find lower prices on any other ticketing app. Also, you get transparent all-in pricing, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. We have multiple Steelers Talk listeners that have reached out to me saying that they got great seats at great prices for Steelers games this year, including tonight's win versus the Jets, by using Game Time Picks. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Now we finally get to Beanie Bishop Jr. here, man, that had the best game of his career by far tonight, securing 2 huge interceptions. One where he's the pole runner in Tampa 2, and then he flips his hips, gets his hand on the football, and intercepts Aaron Rodgers before the half, which allowed the Steelers to get some momentum heading into the locker room and give Russell Wilson some confidence after a really rocky start. Then he comes back out and he gets an interception against Garrett Wilson when he bobbles the football, and he takes it all the way down to the 1. So Beanie Bishop Jr. was pretty decent in coverage. He had some lapses, but for an undrafted free agent at his size, man, he was such a big impact in this game, and it was certainly his day today. So big impact for Beanie Bishop Jr. By the way, his 2 interceptions led to 2 touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So DeShon Elliott, not Deshaun Watson, even though get well soon, DeShon. DeShon Elliott comes in with a game ball. And the reason why I'm giving him a game ball is because he's so good at tackling in space, man. He has been so freaking good in that regard, not missing tackles. We've had a little bit of an issue with that at strong safety in recent years, not this year, man. DeShon Elliott has been absolutely bloody fantastic this year at that strong safety position. Really appreciate what he brings to the Steelers offense this year. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button. Help us get to 65,000 subscribers here on Steelers Talk. Greatly appreciate your guys' support. So make sure you click that subscribe button for wall-to-wall Steelers coverage all throughout the 2024 season. And by the way, I think the Steelers are going to trade for Mike Williams within the next 48 hours. So if you want our live coverage on that, if and when it happens, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. I want to give a game ball to Ryan McCollum because even though he wasn't dominant today in any stretch of the imagination for me, I thought he played more than well enough, especially in the second half. He got his feet wet just like Russell Wilson did. And there were some moments that were head-scratching, like he was one-on-one on Quinnen Williams. He just got his ass beat, like of course he did against Quinnen Williams. But for a backup coming in and kind of like a practice squad-level player, if I'm being honest with you, I thought he held up nicely as the starting center of the Pittsburgh Steelers today. So I want to give him his flowers. And the final one here, man, give it to the head coach, Mike Tomlin. I mean, are the people that have been in my comments section all week saying that we should fire Tomlin because he went with Russ? Like, where are you guys at? Like, are you guys going to say you're sorry in the comments section to Mike Tomlin? Now, it's still a long season to go. Still could be the case that Russell Wilson doesn't pan out and this move to go to Russ just wasn't the right move. But, I mean, 37 points tonight. Should have been 41 against a top 10 scoring defense. Now, was Russ the main engine? Was he carrying the offense tonight? No. But he was what the Steelers brought him in to be. All right, and Mike Tomlin had the vision to bring in Russell Wilson, seeing his skill set as a deep ball thrower that protects the football and moves the chains and gets the ball in the end zone, in the red zone, by the way. Like, that's what the Steelers need. They don't need a world beater out there. Mike Tomlin understood that. He saw the way Justin Fields was playing with the lack of efficiency, the missed open receivers down the field. And he said, you know what? I think that we might be a little bit more efficient with Russell Wilson. And people put his feet to the fire. This guy was dragged through the coals this week, and people just don't trust this guy, and I can't believe it. All right, so we'll see how Russ plays the rest of the season, but for now, this certainly seems like the right decision from Mike Tomlin, and, you know, it's definitely possible that this team does go from a team that was probably on track to lose in the first round of the playoffs with Justin Fields to a team that maybe, just maybe, can win playoff games with Russell Wilson under center. So grade the Steelers' performance tonight, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give them an A-, all right? It's not going to be a perfect performance because it was a slow start. Offensively in the first half, Russ was definitely rusty. The offensive line was giving up pressure early. The run game wasn't getting going early either. So because of that, I will knock them down a little bit here. But whenever you beat a team by this much on your home turf, the defense plays as well as they did. Run game got going late the way they did. Russell Wilson was efficient as he was today. You got to give this team an A-, and you got to be feeling pretty darn good and optimistic if you're a Steelers fan right now. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. That's going to be it for our post-game coverage. I'm going to be watching the film tonight and tomorrow morning here, and I'm gonna kind of bring some more nuance tomorrow in our Monday morning video. And then we're going to be going live tomorrow. If they trade for Mike Williams, obviously we'll be talking about that. But we do have a Steelers Talk live show scheduled for Victory Monday tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to join us for that, we'll be right here talking Steelers with you guys and bringing some context to the conversation here after we're able to analyze the numbers and watch the film. So appreciate your guys' support. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, here we go, Steelers.